Hi and welcome to Kev's Taste of Enchantment. Today I'm going to show you how to make some homemade refried beans. But first what we have to do is make our beans so we could refry them. So what we're going to do is I've got a pound of pinto beans right here. I've got my lard, my onion, my bacon grease, and my pinto bean seasoning. This is a big key. Today I'm going to be using the Instapot to make my refried beans. Now, the nice thing about the Instapot is you don't have to pre-soak your beans when you're making your pinto beans. If you don't have an Instapot and you have to cook them in a slow cooker, what you want to do is you want to pre-soak them overnight. The nice thing about pre-soaking your beans overnight is not only do they get soft, but you want to change out the water, because if you've got a 12-year-old who likes to fart all the time, it helps eliminate all the flatulence that your 12-year-old will do. Anyways, needless to say, we'll be using the Instapot today. We don't have to pre-soak them, so let's get started. All right, so what you want to do is you want to take your pound of pinto beans and you want to spread them out on a counter, a cutting board, whatever you have, whatever you prefer to use, and you want to clean your beans. You want to get all of the half beans, the dark beans out of there, anything that looks old. Also, you can also get rocks sometimes in your pinto beans, believe it or not. So you want to make sure you clean them really good. So we've got our beans cleaned. What we want to do is we want to come over here to the sink. We want to give them a good rinse. Then we're going to throw them in our Instapot here. Now, Instapot recommends that you use 4 cups of water. I'm going to recommend that you use 5 cups of water, because you want to make sure you have some broth from the beans for when you refry the beans. Now what we're also going to do is we're going to add some of our pinto bean seasoning. Now you can get this at your local Walmart. I'm going to add some to the Instapot while we cook the beans, and I'm also going to add some of this when we refry the beans. Season to your own taste. You want to close the lid, make sure it's on sealing. Instapot recommends that you cook the beans for 30 minutes, but I'm going to cook them for 45 because I want to make sure they're soft. Now, if you don't have an Instapot and you have to cook them in a slow cooker, what you want to do is you want to soak the beans overnight. Like I said, change the water out so your 12-year-old doesn't fart all over the place. But what you also want to do is cook them in the slow cooker for anywhere between 4 and 8 hours. It depends on the elevation that you live. I live here in Colorado, and the elevation here is 6,800 feet, so water boils at a lower temperature, so it takes longer to cook the beans. If you live in California, you could probably get away with cooking your beans in anywhere between 4 and 6 hours, where here in Colorado, it's going to take you at least a good 8 hours in a slow cooker to cook your beans. So we're going to set our Instapot for 45 minutes, and when it's all done, I'll show you how to make the refried beans. So I let it go for 45 minutes, and I did a quick release. Now, we're going to take a look in a minute and see what the beans look like. So here's what our beans look like after we've cooked them for 45 minutes in the Instapot. We've got nice soft beans, plenty of juice. So let's get ready to make our refried beans. All right, So we're ready to make our refried beans. I've got a cast iron skillet right here. I like to use cast iron because it holds the heat and it actually brings out the flavor and things. So I've got my bacon grease that I save right here. And I've also got my white snow-capped lard. This is the traditional way to make refried beans. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an actual teaspoon, not a measuring teaspoon, and I'm going to take a scoop of lard. I'm going to put that in the pan, and I'm going to take a scoop of the bacon grease as well. And I'm going to put that in the pan. I'm going to let that heat up, melt up. I've got my prepared onions over here that I'm going to put into the pan. I'm going to saute the onions a little bit, and then we're going to throw the beans in there and we're going to refry them. We'll be right back. All right, so we've got our onions sauteing in the lard and bacon grease. And they're just about ready. So what we're going to do is we are going to add our beans. I'm going to take a couple cupfuls of beans from the Instapot here. I'm not going to use the whole amount of beans. I'm going to save those for another recipe later. So I'm taking 3 cupfuls. This is an actual cup. I'm going to go ahead and let them heat up a little bit. Stir them around with the onion. And if you don't like onion, you don't have to use the onion. Me personally, I prefer to use onion. I love onion. But you do not have to use onion if you do not like. Now, I'm going to take my masher and I'm going to start mashing the beans. Because that's how you're going to break your beans down so you can actually refry them. And the reason why I love my iron skillet is iron skillets, like I said earlier, they hold heat very well and they are great for frying. Anything that I fry, I love to use my iron skillets. A well-seasoned iron skillet will give you fabulous results. Now the last thing that I want to do as I let these beans refry is I want to add my pinto bean seasoning. Like I said, you could get this at Walmart. And this has fabulous flavor. My son loves these beans. And I'm going to add a generous amount. Once again, you add as much as you would like for your seasoning taste. And I'm going to go ahead and stir these around as I let them fry. And voila, there we have refried beans.